Hey, and good evening. I am Josh Johnson, owner of the best hairline in all of TV weather, for sure. Probably the worst, actually. But anyway, we'll not get into all that. So we're here tonight to track some storms with you. We've got this big, mean, ugly squall line now running from the south side of the Nashville metro back down to near just west of Athens, Alabama, and then from there it curves back down to Meridian, Mississippi, all the way down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is a big, mean, ugly line of thunderstorms that is producing some strong wind up and down that line as well. So we'll go over a lot of different things tonight in a lot of different ways, but the screaming message here is actually pretty straightforward, right? We've got a significant threat of damaging wind that will unfold across the state over the course of the next few hours. Then we also have sort of a secondary concern for tornadoes. Some of the tornadoes into southwest Alabama especially could potentially be strong to severe. So we've got that we're kind of eyeballing in this mix as well. So there's a lot going on. The line of storms has now entered into the state right now. So that's sort of where we are right now. We'll take you up and down the line. So we have active tornado warnings now. Southern Middle Tennessee, west of Fayetteville, Tennessee, up near the Jack Daniels Distillery, then running back down towards Athens, Alabama. They are in an active tornado warning polygon. So is Huntsville and Hazel Green and Decatur. So if you have friends or family up here in the Tennessee Valley, from Ardmore to Athens to Hazel Green to Huntsville, back to Decatur, make sure they're taking this thing seriously and going through that tornado safety plan, because this is a pretty mean, pretty ugly line of storms. Now, back down to the south, you'll notice even more storms. Yeah, back into Walker County, Fayette County getting in on the mix there. Then from there, it curves back down, northwestern Tuscaloosa County, Pickens County, and then from there, it heads back down towards Meridian, Mississippi. So what happens next? Well, this whole line moves across our area. It's moving eastward pretty rapidly. Here we are just after midnight, and that's where the line is right now. We think it will arrive in and around the Montgomery area between, give or take an hour or two. I think it's around a 2 a.m. arrival, right? So main threat would be damaging straight line wind gusts, but we can't rule out more than that either. So there's a lot to sort of unpack here and a lot to dive into when it comes to this whole weather scenario. A lot of you wondering about timing. Here is our latest timing graphic. And I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit there and you can see the counties just a little better. So pick your county on the screen here if you're wondering when this is going to happen. There are bunches and bunches and bunches of questions coming in about specific cities and towns. We're going to show you some maps, but the reality of this whole thing is some of you are just not map people, and no amount of jumping up and down from us is going to change that. So we want to sort of meet you where you are, and we figure, even if you don't know how to find yourself on a map, you probably know how to find yourself by the name of your county. So that's where we are, right? That's what this graphic is for the ability to just sort of scroll through, see your county, and know, okay, that's the timeline. Now, some notes in this timeline here. Understand that the timeline's sort of broad, right? It's 2 or 3 hours. I think most of these are 3 hours now. It's not going to storm for 3 hours. These are moving really fast. This will be more of a quick hitter scenario where you get 45 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so of heavy rain, of thunder, of gusty wind, of lightning, of potentially even isolated tornadoes, and then it goes away. So it's not going to storm this entire window, right? What this graphic is essentially telling you is sometime in that time frame you see by your county, within that window there will be kind of a 30 to 45 minute period where it storms really hard, and there's thunder and there's lightning and there's gusty wind, and it's not very fun. So that's what that graphic sort of means there. We will note there are no active tornado warnings right now on the Alabama side of the line, minus the stuff we went over from the Tennessee Valley, right? So a lot of us have severe thunderstorm warnings up and down this line, but the next tornado warning downstream would be here along the Mississippi-Louisiana state line. So things we're watching. So the line itself is pretty obvious, right? It's on the radar screen pretty loud and pretty proud. What we'll be watching for as the night unfolds, a couple of trends, right? Do we see any of these storms out ahead of the line? Are any of these able to strengthen down here in southwest Alabama and southeast Mississippi? If they do strengthen into individual discrete cells, the risk of tornadoes would go way up, right? So that's something we'll have to kind of eyeball here moving you forward. Now, even if that doesn't happen, keep in mind there's still quite a bit of wind shear around the state tonight. So even within the line itself, this is going to be a scenario where there's the possibility of tornadoes up and down the entire line as this comes through. I would suggest to you that's a secondary risk. The main concern is damaging wind, but a risk is a risk is a risk. So you need multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings, and you need to know ahead of time where you will go. So we've talked about the wind. Let me pop that back up on the screen here. That's the timing graphic. The next thing I want to show you is actually from the National Weather or the Storm Prediction Center. We'll go over the individual risks themselves, and the main message here is this is a kind of a level 2 to 3-ish sort of risk setup. It depends on exactly what we're talking about here, but here are those threat bars. Tornado would be somewhere around 1 to 2, depending on exactly where you are. For most of our area, I would still keep it as a level 1 risk. Yes, I know the Storm Prediction Center has a higher kind of outlook right now, but we think for most of our area it's a 1. The exception would be southwest Alabama, some of the counties. You get down into Conecuh and Monroe and Clark and Wilcox. That could be an area where maybe that tornado risk is around a 2 out of 5. Remember, the scale goes from 1 to 5. 1 is a standard risk of severe weather, right? Something we deal with regularity. 5 means you need to change all your plans. We are on the left end of that scale for the most part. That wind risk would be up around a 2 to 3. Again, that would be highest in the western and southwestern counties as well. So here's future view. Let's watch this thing together here. So you'll notice the rapid eastward movement. So by 1 o'clock, the line of storms is pressing in on Birmingham and Marion and Centerville and Brent and Demopolis and Linden. Then you'll notice it moves east very rapidly. By 2 o'clock, the line of storms is getting into places like Alexander City and Wetumpka and Rockford. It's already through Prattville, most likely. Montgomery, Pike Road, Greenville, Evergreen, Castleberry, and then from there curving back down towards Mobile and Baldwin counties. You'll notice by 5 o'clock, it's essentially in the Wiregrass. So if you live over in Auburn, Opelika, Union Springs, Dadeville, Phoenix City, Troy, Andalusia, Opp, Laverne, Enterprise, Elba, Dothan, the timeline there would be kind of in that 3 to 5 window. So this moves east very rapidly. That's one maybe silver lining in this, is we don't have any sort of huge flood threat because of that. All right, a little bit of breaking news to pass along here. This is a new tornado warning that's just come out. This is for Sumter County, and looks like that gets over to southern Hale County as well. So this would be right over to Livingston. Hey, there was a person on Facebook who asked me about Livingston earlier today. They have kids there at the University of West Alabama. So we've got an active tornado warning scenario there now. You can pretty much see it right there. That's your sort of hook. This rotation is right over Livingston. Let's go into the velocity product, see what we see there. Again, you are way out here in that dreaded West Alabama radar gap in Sumter County. So, and by the way, the Weather Service explicitly said, due to the structure of the storm and the distance from the radar, they just feel more comfortable having a warning in effect. I think that's exactly right? Because they're a long way from the radar out there. Now, what we'll watch and see is, does that clip any of northern Marengo? Look who it is.
You on 3?
I'm on Anchor 1. There was a problem with weather. You guys had weather 1 and 2, and weather 3 had a problem.
Okay, well, she's not wearing weather 2 anymore.
She's not wearing weather 2. Yeah, I'll swap it out probably before we get going. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, that's hanging out and hanging on.
Your line looks great.
Does it?
Amazing.
So good?
Who does your hair?
It's mainly a combination of me and me.
Me and me.
Yep, those are my main hairstylists.
Myself and I.
Yep, me and me. We do pretty good work, I'd say, for the money. I mean, it's a pro bono job. It's a tough job, too. So the Weather Service saying that mainly the distance from the radar, they just feel more comfortable having a warning in effect. So what they're saying essentially is this is so far from the radar, we're really not going to be able to see a lot of rotation out here. But because of the shape of the storm, right? Look at it. See this kind of hook echo? Because of that hook, they just feel more comfortable having a warning in effect. I think that's exactly right, by the way. I think that they are right on the money. And I will tell you, I think the National Weather Service in Birmingham, they do as good a job as anybody in America when it comes to tornadoes and tornado warnings and severe weather. So we take their word pretty strong. Look, and we're lucky here. We've got a great office in Mobile. We've got a great office in Tallahassee. My buddy Jason Beeman down in Mobile does phenomenal work. And my friends up in Birmingham, they do great work. So we're really lucky to have them here. And look, we're the face you see sometimes, and I apologize for the way it looks, but they are in many ways the brains of the operation there. They issue all these warnings that we then tell you about. All right, go back to the Birmingham radar and zoom you in over here. So there's that active tornado warning. Now, listen, some housekeeping on this. If they issue a tornado warning over in northern Marengo County, then we will move coverage over. Right now I'm just streaming this on Facebook and YouTube. If they pop a tornado warning from Marengo, we will go live on WSFA. We will not be simulcasting our tornado coverage on Facebook tonight due to digital staffing issues. So if we go into a tornado warning for any county in the WSFA area, understand that we will be streaming that on our apps, on the WSFA family of apps, the news app, the weather app, Connect the TV, all of that. And you can watch it on WSFA 12 News, wherever you watch your TV, over the air, cable, satellite, wherever you stream it or watch it. So just a logistical note in all of that. Amanda's working on logistics too. Can you tell?
You're good to stay on Anchor One.
You are mic batterying it up over there, aren't you? Mm-hmm. That's exciting.
Fresh set for everybody.
I know.
You're good to stay on Anchor One though. Do
Okay.
you want it whether IFB or?
No, I don't. It doesn't
Okay.
make any difference to
Okay.
me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So let's dive into some questions here. I'm sure there are plenty. Let's go into the whole thing here. A lot of these I've already answered because of just the way that these briefings kind of go. By the way, WSFA commenting on this says, we're here and we'll send out a push alert if we go into wall-to-wall coverage. So what they're saying is the same thing, that don't go looking for tornado coverage on Facebook, right? We use Facebook and YouTube to tell you about stuff before we get to that point. Once we are in continuous coverage for a tornado warning in our viewing area, that goes away and we go into continuous coverage on exclusively WSFA 12 News. All right, so a little note here too now. The Weather Service is now extending that tornado warning. That's for another storm within the line. This is a new one that goes for southwestern Tuscaloosa County, northeastern Greene, and northeastern Hale County. You'll see it pop up on the map here. There it is, right there. So that's your new tornado warning for a separate storm within the same line. So you've got one tornado warned storm right here, another one right over Livingston on the campus of the University of West Alabama. Movement here is towards the east, almost due east. So if either of these hold together long enough, they'll end up, this southern one will end up clipping maybe Marengo and then certainly Perry. And this one here could end up in parts of Chilton County. So those are both counties that we would be keeping a close eye on for that as well. So let's see here. Watching in red level, how do I find the frequency for my weather radio? Easiest thing is just to Google it, but I will do that for you. If you'll just bear with me, I'll look up your weather radio code. Again, that's for Covington County, right? So we need to figure out what your frequency is, right? Covington, you want to try 162.475 and 162.550. So that's, I think, channel 3 and 6. Don't quote me on that. But those are the frequencies. So good question. How bad is it going to get in Raymer? We don't know. That's a question we get a lot, is how bad will it be in X community? If we knew this far ahead of time how bad it would be in your exact community, we would already be on TV telling you about it, right? We would be going door to door, banging on doors, telling people, hey, there's a tornado coming. So we don't know. So asking the specific questions, how bad will it be in Slapout? What's it going to be like in Prattville? What's it going to be like in Raymer? The honest answer is we don't know yet. We don't know exactly where these storms will track until they get a little closer into you. So that's a question we can answer minutes in advance, not hours in advance most of the time. So I can tell you it's going to be windy. It's going to be stormy. There's going to be thunder and lightning and gusty wind. And yes, there's going to be an isolated risk of wind damage and an isolated risk of tornadoes. That sentence is, those paragraphs are area wide, right? Once a storm forms and we can track it on radar, then we're able to really drill down and tell you exactly how bad it's going to be where you are. Until we get to that point, the honest answer, the responsible answer is we just don't know. So all of the specific questions about specific spots, we don't know. Will the line die further east? No, it won't die. I do think it will, you're in the part of the state now that temperatures made it up into the upper 70s today. Man, that's a tough looking storm. So I do think it will weaken some, but it's not going to die, no. The shape on that, boy, that doesn't look good. Let's go into the Birmingham radar there and check that one out. Man, I don't see much rotation-wise. The shape of the storm, a little concerning there. That's on the north end of Tuscaloosa up near Northport. I got those. They're delicious, by the way. You should try them. Yeah. Carrie found them somewhere, and they are chef's kiss good.
Snacks.
We love snacks.
We serve food always.
Mm-hmm. Kodak Black took a shower before the threat. Hey, Kodak. School.
Players making plays.
Oh, players making plays, man.
Like fashion.
Players making plays.
Cheesy, I like it.
It's very good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think reasonably healthy. It's snack food, right? But it's not kale.
Hey.
It's not crunchy kale, but it's still pretty good.
10 gallons of protein, 1 gram of sugar. That sounds balanced.
Got a lot of hairline jokes tonight. I kind of figured that would be the case. Should a mobile home be left for these winds? That's a really tough question. Really, do you have a lot of trees over the mobile home? That's thing one I would look at. If it's my family and there's a lot of pine trees right over it, maybe I would leave, right? Other question, how long does it take you to get to your safe place? If you have a neighbor across the street and you can get there in 2 minutes, no, I wouldn't leave. I'd have my weather radio by the bed. I'd have my shoes by the bed ready to put on, and I'd be ready to go at a moment's notice, but I wouldn't leave. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to get to that nearest safe place, I would consider it. Yeah, I would consider go ahead and get into that safe spot. But that's just me. I'm a risk-averse person. So everyone's answer there is a little bit different. So there you have it. We're talking snacks, by the way. Nicole asked, what day is this happening on? Today. Like in the right now-ish time of life. Yeah, Hillary makes a good point that Amanda brought up earlier, I think. If you're having problems with the app, deleting it and reinstalling it will solve 90% of them. There are other ones that will report into the programmers and developers who come up with the app, but that's our best advice there. What about Florida? Please, I'm so scared right now. Don't be scared. Look, hey, Florida, the severe weather risk is lower in Florida than it is in Alabama tonight. This line will weaken as it moves into Florida. That said, if you live in the Panhandle, you still need to stay weather aware overnight tonight. So, Airbnb in Rockford. Rockford is in Coosa County. So, there you go. I'm in Autauga, but I'm 4 miles from Dallas. Should I go by Autauga or Dallas for weather alerts? I would go by Autauga. I always recommend go by the county you live in. The way that they issue warnings now, with it being a storm-based warning, it's a polygon, right? It's a random shape that they draw out. They don't even look at county lines, right? They just draw the shape out ahead of the storm in most cases. So program it for the county you're in. The exception to that would be, how long does it take you to reach your safe place? For people with mobility challenges, maybe that's a different answer, right? Maybe they need 20 or 30 minutes. In that case, I would recommend programming your weather radio for one county west of you, just to give you that extra pad. But if you're able to get to that safe place in a reasonable amount of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, I would program it for simply your county. Where's the Diet Sunkist? I don't know. I've got to go home and look for that.
You got one in the fridge?
No, I drank it the other day. I need to check the snack machine and see how I'm doing in there. Somebody else really likes Diet Sunkist. I thought I was the only one. And I asked the guy who stocks the machine to start bringing me something that I could buy.
Do you know who it is?
I don't. I've named them the Sunkist Bandit.
You should like hang up a sign.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Poster, yes.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to put a bounty on their head. Whoever identifies the WSFA Sunkist Bandit, I will deliver you a 12-pack of your soda of choice or drink of choice. You're not a soda person? I'll bring you some bottled water. I'll bring you whatever you want. So consider that a bounty on someone's head. Casey asks, I live in a mobile home. Do you know of any shelters around Greenville? I don't have any specific knowledge there, but I will tell you, a buddy of mine, a guy named Craig at Mississippi State, has put together a great website. It's called findyourtornadoshelter.com. And if you go there, you are able to find tornado shelters. It's actually a really nifty website. He's done a phenomenal job with it. I'm going to type that URL in to make sure I got it right. Yeah, findyourtornadoshelter.com. There's a map right there, front and center. You just zoom into it. Looks like the closest one that he's got on the map is just north of Honoraville at 5025 Bowden Road. It's actually across the county line in the Crenshaw. There may be additional ones that I don't know about. So look, if you know of a safer place in Greenville, don't let my advice supersede what you already know and do. But there is a closer one. He's got two on the map here, both just across the Crenshaw County line, one west of Rutledge, another one north of Honoraville. So again, that's findyourtornadoshelter.com. What time for Lake Martin? I'll put the county list back up in just a minute so you can look at it. My man Josh Nichols is in the house tonight. Josh, good to see you. We're going to work on our t-shirt empire next week. Kodak, 2 out of 5 thread is nothing. Go to bed, guys. All right, Kodak, look. I don't want to drop the band hammer on somebody again, right? I came into this thing tonight thinking I'm going to be a really nice person tonight. I'm going to be kind and patient and full of love and grace. But if you come on here and say things that will misinform people watching this, you are going to be ejected from the game, thrown out. Bobby Cox style with the Braves. 2 out of 5 risk is not nothing. We have had deadly tornadoes on 2 out of 5 risk days. We have had big, mean, ugly, terrible, awful things happen on 2 out of 5 risk days. I'm not saying it's the same as a 5 out of 5. It's not. I'm saying it's enough that you ought to pay attention and take it seriously.
The vending machine's out. I was going to go buy you one.
Oh, that was so sweet of
Do
you.
you like regular Sunkist?
No, I brought a Diet Mountain Dew. I may get a regular Sunkist later,
What's the
depending on
difference?
what in between Diet and the Sunkist Zero and the regular.
Just like regular Sunkist and whatever you drink.
I drink Sunkist Zero, and it has fake sugar,
Fake sugar.
some kind of like sucralose or aspartame or one of those that I'm sure is horrible for you.
Okay.
But apparently it's better than the high fructose corn syrup they put in the regular ones. I don't know.
Well, it's like Diet Coke, where it just tastes better.
Just tastes better? Yeah. I agree.
I mean, is it better for you? No.
No, none of them are good. Amanda's got the right idea.
She does.
Just drink water, like stick to the non-caffeinated beverages. Amanda, by the way, is standing right over here to the right. So you can probably, you can see her on there. Never had a soda.
Never had a soda.
Never had a coffee.
Yup. True story.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Where does she get the energy? We don't know.
And she brings the energy every day. It's not a sometimes thing.
Who knows where it comes from?
We know when it starts to get serious once Josh comes out of the jacket. So are we okay for right now? The honest answer to that is a matter of comfort. The only reason the jacket comes off is if I start to get a little too warm. Now, that used to be a much worse problem. We used to have old school light bulbs in television
Ooh,
studios.
those things get hot.
And they put off so much heat. So after an hour or two, you're standing there in a 75-degree room with a giant coat on, and it's super uncomfortable. Nowadays, it's not as big of a deal, so I leave the jacket on more. But still, if it's a long while and the room starts to get warm, I'll take the jacket off. I promise there's no like hidden system of like alerting in that. It's just if I get uncomfortable, it
Let
comes
the
off.
people think what they want to think.
I know. That's a buzzkill, isn't it? So. Overall threat tonight versus the other night. My thoughts. I think the wind damage threat is definitely higher than it was the other night. I think the tornado threat, gosh, that's tough. I think it may be about the same. Now remember, some of this is not selective memory. So here's a weird thing that's happening. You don't know about yet, but you're about to in a matter of seconds. The National Weather Service in Mobile is not surveying the Clark County tornado until Sunday. They have limited staffing, and they wanted to focus all of their staffing on this event tonight. And I get that. I'm for that. I'm down with that. So bottom line, they didn't send out a survey team. Our suspicion is based on radar. We probably had an EF2 or 3 tornado in Clark County near Coffeyville Wednesday night. But we can't tell you that yet because they haven't done the survey. So when I say a tornado risk like Wednesday night, look, for most of our area, there were no tornadoes. There were no tornado warnings. But one county west of our area, there was a strong tornado, most likely. So when I say, hey, it's a lot like the other night, I don't want you to take that to go, oh, okay, well, I didn't have a tornado Wednesday night. I'm not going to have a tornado tonight. Overall threat's fairly limited. I think the overall threat is primarily in West Alabama over the course of the next few hours. As this moves east, it will come down a little. It doesn't go to zero for anyone, though. I don't care if you live in Muscle Shoals or Dothan or Mentone or Mobile or anywhere in between. There's a threat of a tornado in every square inch of Alabama tonight. So there you go. See that? Mm-hmm. I need to log into that. Take a peek. Are you live on DoorDash as well? No.
Name your price. We could be.
Right, yeah. If the price is right, we could. Some of these comments are making me lose brain cells, is what Addison just said.
Welcome, Addison.
Yeah, you are amongst friends here. Yeah, and I have a one brain cell, one hair follicle rule. When one brain cell dies, a hair follicle follows it. And again, that was the whole thing that happened Wednesday night was that. If I don't have a helmet, can I use a cooking pot? Just curious if that's just as good. Lori, that question sounds absurd. It's actually not. A cooking pot will offer better protection to your head and neck than nothing at all. A helmet's obviously going to be better, right? But there have been people who have survived tornadoes by taking a stock pot and putting it over their head. Look, everyone's different. Is that your number one pick? No, probably not. But if you get into a tornado scenario and you got nothing else, I would personally do it. I think that's not a horrible idea. So active tornado warning continues now. Tuscaloosa and northern Hale County near Moundville. And then another tornadic circulation passing just north of Demopolis. Let me take you in there. Look, that's not our coverage area technically. However, that tornado warning polygon is just across the county line up here into southern Hale. And there are probably people in that far southern section of Hale County who get their TV out of Demopolis who may be watching this or at least wondering about it. The tornadic part of this, if there is one, is right here, right over the Brownstown area. I'm going to turn the lightning off, make this easier to see. It's right there. It's going to move towards Bird Eye, Cedarville, and eventually New Bern. And look, if this holds together, we're going to end up stopping the Facebook Live and moving our coverage over to WSFA 12 News and the WSFA apps. Because if this holds together, we're going to end up with a tornado warning for Perry County, which is right in the middle of us and our viewing area. What does Sunkist have to do with the weather? Seth, you're new here, aren't you? We welcome you with open arms. I have an unnatural, unhealthy love of, it used to be called Diet Sunkist, now it's Sunkist Zero. And it has caffeine in it. Most orange sodas do not. I love orange soda, Fanta, no caffeine. Sunkist does have caffeine. So there you go. Take a shot, Josh Johnson, WSFA.
Yeah, someone told me to take multiple shots. We don't do that.
No,
Not on the clock.
not yet. Many more nights like tonight, maybe we start. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. Any chance Prattville sees a tornado? We don't know yet. If we knew, we would be already telling you about all of that. I can't really keep up. Today is my birthday. I'm 36. Happy birthday. Josh, what time will the rain be gone in the morning? I think for most of us, at 7 or 8 at the latest.
Talking about the wiregrass wobble, I was telling
Yeah,
Madeline
that
about
it may stick around 9 or 10. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the wiregrass waltz or the wiregrass wobble. A lot of times these storms make it down into the Dothan area, and then they just sort of, they're slow to leave, right? They're like when you invite, there's always that one friend. When you invite people over to watch a game or something, the game ends, the post-game report ends, the next game comes on, and then it ends, and there your buddy sits on the couch, still hanging out. And you're like, all right, I'm heading to bed now. He's still there. So that's the wiregrass waltz. When a line of storms gets down in the southeastern corner of the state, a lot of times it tends to hang out there. Is Dadeville safe to go to sleep? Tough question. You are if you have a NOAA weather radio and or the WSFA First Alert weather app set to follow me and send you alert notifications. If you do it, take your phone out of silent mode, plug it in, make sure it's got a good charge, and make sure the volume's up. If you have those things in place, I would go straight to sleep. If you don't have those things in place, maybe set an alarm and wake up every 30 minutes or an hour and just kind of check out the radar, see where the storms are. Mark Bullock, what has this system produced so far to our west? That's a great question. And actually, I want to show you, we can show you some of this, right? With wind damage situations, where you can really see it is a great new tool we have here in the Vance Law Firm. Storm Track Zone, it is this power outage map. And so in Alabama right now, we've got 32,500 without electricity. Look at the number in Mississippi. It's over double that. We've got almost 70,000 people without electricity in Mississippi. We have received dozens of reports of straight line wind damage. I think we've seen a couple of TDSs over there, tornado debris signatures. So, Mark, the honest answer is we don't fully know yet. It's dark after all. No storm surveys have been done. But we can tell you based on radar data, there have been multiple tornado touchdowns. And we also know there have been some significant swaths of straight line wind damage. Hey, new report just coming in. This one from Alabama in Hale County on 2nd Avenue in Moundville, a tree on house there with some people trapped. That may or may not be tornado related, by the way. So let's dive back into that. That's that storm right up here. So this one's coming across southern Tuscaloosa County and far northern Hale County. You've got a possible tornado right over the Moundville area. That's moving due east, so heads up. Centerville, Brent, West Blockton, northern Bibb County. You're next in the path of this. This will cross US 82, south of the city of Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa, horrible weather right now, but no rotation in that we can see. It's pouring rain, thunder, lightning, gusty wind. If you have family or friends that go to the University of Alabama, make sure they're just hanging out, staying where they are, and they should be just fine. But it's south of there, southern Tuscaloosa County, around the Moundville area. That's where we're watching that possible tornado number 1. And then there is a secondary possible tornado down here to the south. This one's coming right along the Sumter-Hale line, which is, that's the Tombigbee River. That's the Tombigbee, that's the Black Warrior River, just so you know. They merge in Demopolis. Or I guess it would be more appropriate to say the Black Warrior River flows into the Tombigbee, which then continues south from Demopolis. But semantics, right? That's a pretty good looking, pretty dangerous looking signature right there, right over Brownstown. That's going to move east and go just north of downtown Demopolis. If you live in Demopolis proper, the worst of this storm goes north of you, but it's still a miserable time. It's pouring rain, gusty wind, some tree damage is possible as well. So, good question. Just curious, is there a reason Alabama seems to get the severe weather during the night, or is that just a recent memory bias on my part? No, I don't think it's a memory bias. We get a lot of nighttime severe weather. Part of it's dumb luck. Part of it is, there's a thing called the nocturnal low-level jet, which due to some physical processes that happen when the sun goes down, you can see an acceleration of winds a few thousand feet above the ground, still relatively low in the sky, but it is above the ground, that help fuel thunderstorms and or tornadic circulations. So I do think that factors in. That's something that honestly I wish that we was a little more research in the weather community about that. Hagen says there are some people that need Jesus in this group. Yeah.
In this group, like,
Don't we all?
or in the Facebook
You could
Live?
maybe just Planet Earth, you know?
Yeah.
They're talking about in the Facebook Live.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Seth likes Sunkist too. Do I think the tornado warning in the Demopolis area will move to Watauga County? It actually could if it holds together. Yeah, the way that storm's aimed, it could end up along the Chilton-Watauga line. Make me answer it earlier than I want to. I think it would maybe be a little more of a Chilton issue because I do think there is a tick of northward movement to that. But Watauga, you need to be looking at this. Perry, Dallas would get it first, though. So southern Hale County, then Perry County, then Dallas, Chilton, Watauga would get in the mix on that one specific storm. Is the line weakening? No, not yet. It may later, but right now it's honking along pretty strong. Show the radar. Kodak, this is the radar. It is behind me and has been for several minutes. If you like a wider view, you could use that. Some of y'all's moms and dads did not teach you how to ask for things, did they? Some of them are bossy, you know? Kenneth says, I have to hide the comments. Should we take shelter if a severe thunderstorm warning pops up? That depends on your personal living situation. If you have a whole bunch of trees over your house and you've had a history of those trees coming into your house, then you may consider it. Hale County now in a tornado warning. That's that storm going just north of Demopolis. They issued over into southern Hale. So next would be Perry. So we may end up going, again, I've said this a few times now, if we end up in a tornado warning in the WSFA service area, this Facebook and YouTube Live will end, and the coverage will go over to the WSFA First Alert Weather app, the news app, the connected TV apps that you can get on Roku, Amazon, Apple, or you can watch us over the air with a free, over-the-air free if you have an antenna, or if you have us on cable or satellite, you can just find WSFA. Yes, it will be a fast-moving storm, really, really moving a long way. Josh Nichols says, I really missed my shot to show up to work tonight with a wig on. That would have been hilarious. The situation probably didn't allow for that, but that would have been money. Yes, Maxwell radar is back up, so that's really good news. Do tornadoes normally follow water? No, they do not. Tornadoes cross rivers, they cross lakes, they cross anything they want to cross. I'm going through the comments as much as I can to try. Lisa says, I wish they would check our comments and at least try and let us know. Look, I can't keep up with the comment. I did see that one. And if you had posted your question instead of the I wish they would check our comments statement, I would be seeing it and reading it right now. So I apologize. I'm going through it as fast as I can. A lot of this has already been answered. Let's do this. We'll just kind of do like a reset. I mean, I'm scrolling as fast as I can, and I'm dozens behind on this. So if you're wondering about a specific community or a specific county or city, let's do this. We will go back, and I want to show you this graphic. This is a timing graphic, right? It's got every county that we serve and then some that we don't even serve, but we wanted to help out and put them on there. If you live in these counties, you have a risk of damaging wind and or isolated tornadoes. That is the case for every county on this list. Some of them, the risk may go a little higher, but honestly, a risk is a risk is a risk. I don't want you to get wound up about what your risk level is. You have a risk. It's a yes or no question, really. We break it down into one to 5, but the answer right now is so different depending on where you live. But for those of you who are asking questions constantly about specific communities, find your county on this list. It's alphabetical. Watauga through Covington on the left, Crenshaw to Lowndes in the middle, Macon to Wilcox on the right. Find your county, and there's the timeline. Now, it will not storm that entire time. What we're saying is the storms will happen sometime in that window. once the storms start where you live, there will be about 30 to 45 minutes of really bad weather, and then it's out of here. So it doesn't storm for 3 hours. This is a timeline that gives you, the storms will occur at some point in the windows you see here. So again, I'm just going to leave this up because there are so many questions about specific communities and cities that it is very difficult to answer all of them. How bad in Deatsville? Then he asked something inappropriate. Yeah, I would keep your family out of the room that you're using the restroom in. He is going number 2. So we got that going for us. What does it mean if the wind is so many miles per hour above the atmosphere? I believe that's how you say it. I'm not sure exactly what the question there is, but if you're asking about how strong the wind is just above the ground, that actually helps fuel storms. It transports warm air in. It helps create and enhance wind shear. So the wind, I think you could make the argument in a lot of severe weather setups, the most important wind is a few thousand feet above the ground, because that really drives a lot of this. Now, we have some where the surface temperature is too cool, too stable to support severe weather. We had that happen a little Wednesday in some of our northeastern counties, right? But the wind speed and direction from the ground to about 5,000 feet above the ground are critical in this whole thing. I don't have a weather radar. Is there one that you recommend for future reference?
I was just going to send that to you.
WSFA First Alert Weather app.
Free.
And unlike TikTok, we are not going to get banned anytime soon. I promise.
Don't use future radar.
Make sure it's in past mode or past plus future. And this would be a good check for everybody. Fire up what's up? What you got? Huh?
On Facebook.
We're live on Facebook and YouTube right now. But we may go live any minute. They may issue over into Perry County, and then we're going to go live on 12.
Okay.
So.
Just a heads up, I've got no seekers.
Okay.
And I've got no way to modify the severe weather rundown because it disappeared.
Okay, very good. So
We
can
still
you?
run the severe weather rundown.
Okay.
I can't edit it.
As long as you can swap back and forth on command between
Oh, no, I can.
that and that, that's all we need.
Like I told Amanda, we'll run the severe weather open.
Okay.
It'll come up to the game text.
All right, yeah, we can definitely do that. RJ asked, where is Amanda?
Oh, you can't see. Sorry.
There you go, right there.
I'm here. Hi.
Right here.
I'm here.
What's that movie? I've been here the whole time, man. Amanda's been here since, what, 3 in the afternoon?
4.
4. So we're going on 9 hours. That's pretty awesome,
Solid.
right?
Another day.
Just another day in paradise. I think they're rolling some
Now-
opens for fun.
I like to play this fun game.
Oh, I love games.
Is it a Genesis song or is it a Phil Collins song? I do horrible at this because I feel like I never guess correctly.
Which, are we going in the air tonight or what?
No. It's Another Day in Paradise. Is that a Phil
okay.
Collins song or is that a Genesis song? It's a little fun game I play with myself.
Genesis.
I don't know. That's what I'm.
Okay, she's gonna Google
So I'm
that.
gonna have to Google it. I'm asking
she's like,
who do you
she's
know?
like, I'm asking, yeah.
Like,
right,
I know
right.
it's Phil Collins or Genesis, but I don't know which
But I don't
one.
know which one that one specifically.
Does
is.
anybody know?
I'm sure people on Facebook know, and if they don't, they'll tell you.
It is
They
Phil
do.
Collins' song.
Phil Collins. I was wrong.
So I don't really understand the trajectory of Genesis and then Phil Collins and when they kind of ebbed and flowed back together.
Me
and,
neither.
You know, like, obviously I know Phil Collins is the lead singer of
Yeah, right,
Genesis,
like they
but
just-
like when he was solo and when he wasn't, and did he go back and forth? I don't know.
New severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay.
Looks like that's for Perry.
Okay, so they're going severe thunderstorm with
Severe
that.
thunderstorm warning for Perry County. Trees and power lines down in parts of Sumter County.
They said that they're going to cancel the warning once it gets out of green, but yes, the threat for Sumter County is over. My friend Tori, Prattville native, working
Tori's
at
great.
WTOK.
Nick and I are both WTOK alums, by the way. WTOK's TV station in Meridian, Mississippi. And our friend Tori Alvarado, who is from Prattville originally, is a meteorologist there.
Good stuff.
Yeah, sure, you can mic check us anytime you want. We're talking pretty much nonstop. I may have turned mine off to save the battery.
As did I.
Yeah, I think I did. So you're seeing right now a lot of the behind the
Mic check
scenes
for Amanda. 1,
checks
2, 3,
and things
4,
that
5,
happen.
6. 7, 8.
as we prepare for severe weather coverage, which that might be kind of interesting for you too.
They're actually not seeing anything. They're just looking at the graphic.
No, I'll push it back up.
Oh, hi.
Yep.
Whole time. Hi.
So that was cool. I'm glad you didn't do anything inappropriate, right? Not that you ever
What?
would.
I was
but
gonna
like-
say, when
What's up?
Thank you, Brad.
All right.
Not yet. We'll let you know.
Whenever there's a tornado warning issued for it,
No, that's the
that was his new
thunderstorm
severe
warning.
thunderstorm warning for Perry. Yep.
Fun fact: our TMP's name is Rad,
Rad.
And he's a pretty rad.
And he's pretty rad.
and he likes to make jokes about himself being rad.
What were you saying about the radar in the WSFA app, Josh? Make sure it's in past mode or past plus future mode. It's actually really important that you do this.
Stand by.
I can actually, here I can,
screen share?
no, I can do this.
Okay.
Yes,
was just
I
gonna go-
can if you have the app, but I can also just,
Okay, y'all see that? So this is location. So let's do location first. So these are all the different places I've ever been. And I go, let me check the weather. So follow me, and anyone that has a bell next to it, that one, we got a glare. Hold
yeah,
on.
I'm trying to find it. Not there. I wonder if we can just do
Let me
that.
just put it down. Does that help?
Maybe a little, yeah.
Okay, so anything that has a bell is what you get notifications for, and I have it follow me from Montgomery because I'm at work, obviously in Montgomery. So there's a tornado watch for Montgomery, there's a wind advisory for Montgomery. Go to this bottom corner, radar. So I have a couple of different things on here. I have overlays. So for every severe thunderstorm warning, for every tornado warning, you can hit these 3 little buttons right here. You can decide what you want to look at. If you don't want to see lightning, you can take that off. If you don't want to see tornado warnings, you just want to look at radar. This is the important part. See this button right here that says future? You can say future, it can say past, it can say past and future. When I hit this play button, see how that's going forward in time? It's not 2 o'clock yet, 3. This is all model data.
So that's where a computer thinks it's raining, not where it's actually raining.
So people say that all the time. They go, well, it's not raining outside, but my app says it is. So what I personally like the best is to just have it on past.
Yes.
And the reason why I like that, and you hit play, that will show you 1 hour loop from where you are right now, which is 12:53. So 1 hour. So from 11:53 to 12:53, this is actual radar data of what has been happening.
Like this is actually where it is raining. A lot of times when you're complaining about the app, it's raining and the app's not showing rain, it's because you're in future mode. That button right there,
Past.
if it's in future mode, you're not actually looking at where it's raining, you're looking at where a computer thought it was going to be raining.
And you can go right here and hit this 3 little buttons, and you can go to weather conditions if you want to look just at rain. I like looking at precip and clouds, so that.
Josh, they just put a.
Okay,
Tornado
morning.
for Perry. All right. Facebook crowd, we are going to move this coverage right now over to WSFA 12 News and the WSFA family of apps. I may just leave this up. Understand, though, you will get a better viewing experience going over and watching this on the WSFA app. I will leave the Facebook going, but there's going to be things that you can't necessarily see on it. So I'll leave it up. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, thumbs up. Let's go.
Live, local, now, this is WSFA 12 News. Today's the First Alert Monday.
Good morning. I'm WSFA First Alert Chief Meteorologist Josh Johnson, along with meteorologist Amanda Curran and meteorologist Madeline Banks. We have an active tornado warning situation to tell you about. It is in Perry County for a nasty line of storms coming out of Hale County. This storm has a history of rotation and is still rotating. Right now it is south of downtown Greensboro. Movement here is towards the east pretty quickly. So this is going to race across southern Hale County over the course of the next 15 minutes. And then it will move initially into the southwestern corner of Perry County. So that's downtown Marion, which is right in the middle of this tornado warning polygon, as are the communities of Sprott, Osborne, and Radford, and Subtle. So if you live along Highway 183, if you live along State Route 5, if you live along Highway 14, 25, 69, all of them, any of the major highways there in Perry County, you need to get to that tornado safe place immediately. The lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet, because we've got, again, a tornado warning now in effect. This is for Perry County, issued just moments ago. This is going to come right up through the Marion to Subtle corridor here. I'll put a quick storm track on this thing. Movement here towards the east. They've got it at 60. So, ooh, yeah, this thing is moving. It will not take long for it to zip across Hale County and get on into Perry County. So New Bern, in about 8 minutes, possible tornado on top of you. It arrives in the city of Marion in about 20 minutes. But don't waste time. Don't. If it speeds up a little, it could be there in 15 minutes. So don't take these as gospel. Take these as a rough guideline. The key is move now. Get to that tornado safe place. What is the safe place? Depends on what kind of structure you're in. If you're in a site-built home, a home that was built there, materials, wood, concrete was brought there, and the home was built on a crawl space or on a slab, then your safe place is in your home. Lowest floor, hallway, bathroom, or closet. If you have a basement or storm shelter, it's even better. If you live in a mobile or manufactured home, a home that was pulled in, even if it's tethered to the ground or strapped to the ground, those straps are insufficient to keep it tied down against the wind of a tornado. Bottom line, you have to get out of it. Going to a hallway, bathroom, or closet in a mobile home doesn't offer you any protection whatsoever. You have to get out of it entirely and get to a community storm shelter, a nearby family member, a friend, or if you know of a business even that's open 24 hours a day, if you can get there, that would be the best course now within that. So that's your tornado warned storm right there. I'm going to move the radar over so you can see it. Your possible tornado would be right here, south of Greensboro, a little bit east of downtown Demopolis, a little bit north of Faunsdale, and US 80 right here. So this is downtown Uniontown right here. This is downtown Marion here. Demopolis back to the west. Demopolis, this is actually through you. The worst of the weather is over in Demopolis, but for Perry County, we now have an active tornado warning that runs through 1:45 in the morning. So that's where we are. That's why we're breaking into programming. Now, I'm going to toss momentarily over to meteorologist Amanda Curran. Before I do that, though, let me just set the stage for the rest of you, right? If you're not in Perry County, for Montgomery, Prattville, Millbrook, Pike Road, Greenville, back through Troy and Union Springs, we still have another hour or two before the weather goes downhill here. There is a fast-moving, intense line of thunderstorms back to our west. It is going to move east very quickly over the course of the next 3 to 4 hours. Within that line, there will be wide swaths of damaging straight-line wind gust, and there will also be the risk of a few embedded tornadoes. And that's that tornadic circulation that we're seeing now in southern hail that's prompted that tornado warning. I'll pop back in here quickly, do a quick radar analysis, and then we'll get it over to Amanda. Quick look at the storm relative velocity. There it is. Yeah, there's pretty clear rotation here. We'll telestrate on the screen here. It's right there. You can see where the red and the green, it's not where red and green touch, right? That happens a lot up and down the line, but it's where they touch and kind of interlock together. We call that a couplet. When they're coupled together, like you see right here, that's a giveaway. Another hint, when you're looking at this product, this is storm relative velocity. It's a rotation tracker. Red means blowing away from the radar. Green means blowing toward it. But when you see areas near each other, red and green, where the colors become brighter, that's a telltale sign, right? And we see that here. So we can't confirm this tornado with radar yet. We don't see any sign of any significant tornado debris at this point. What we do see is the shape of the storm itself and the velocity product here. What you're looking at right now, the red and the green, both of those argue that there's some strong mid-level rotation out here in southern Hale County. This is going to cross the Hale-Perry County line in a matter of seconds. So if you live anywhere, Marion, Vaden, back up to Sprott, act now and get into that tornado safe place, because we've got a serious scenario here, a potentially life-threatening scenario unfolding in Perry County, where a tornado warning remains in effect through 1:45 this morning. I want to toss now over to meteorologist Amanda Curran. She's been here all day tracking this system across Mississippi, now into Alabama. And Amanda, I would say so far this is behaving as expected. A lot of straight-line wind damage and a few problems with tornadoes as well.
Yeah, and especially in West Alabama and first, Josh, we've been talking about this long line of activity. This is now stretching into the northeastern corner of Alabama, and all up and down this line, we're going to see severe thunderstorm warnings. That means this entire wall of heavy rain and storm activity capable of producing damaging wind gusts upwards of 50 to 70 miles an hour. So we need you to take all severe thunderstorm warnings just as seriously as tornado warnings. And we've seen several embedded inside this line. The difference, severe thunderstorm warnings would be for straight line damaging wind, while tornadoes are the rotating columns of air that we see. Both Very interesting in the sense that they can both cause major damage. I think obviously tornadoes come top of mind. You can visualize those funnels. Not on a night like tonight though. You will not be able to go outside and see this coming. This is likely going to be rain wrapped. So you can take our word for what we've seen so far just to the west of Perry County. You're probably thinking in places like Hamburg, in Sprott, in places like Marion. It's not actively raining. We've seen a little bit of rain push through the area, but not a ton going on right now. This is all still one county to the west, but we get these warnings to give you a first alert heads up, so you have as much time to get in that tornado safe place, get settled, and be in a location where you're putting you and your family in the best possible place to ride out these storms. Now, we're keeping an eye on this. This is on the south side of Greensboro, and we're going to be watching right here in particular. All up and down this line is going to be capable of producing damaging wind. New scan just now coming in from the radar showing it inching closer and closer to that Perry County line. So what the National Weather Service Office does is issues those warnings in advance, so we can give all of the people who live right here in this red polygon the opportunity to have as much advance warning as possible. As this kind of bow segment makes its way over the county line, we're going to be not only seeing an uptick in the amount of intense rain, with flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder too. Along with that, a damaging wind threat occurs, and with rotation being something we've monitored in the atmosphere, this is likely a storm that is going to be continuing to hold on to a lot of momentum. We have a lot of ingredients in the atmosphere that are going to support this storm. So it's definitely something we're going to have to monitor down the line, but everybody eventually is going to get impacted by the main system itself. So we're going to take a quick little break from radar. I just want to show you a recap of everyone's threats. Remember, wind is a huge issue, especially in west and southwest Alabama. That's where those storms are hitting first. That's where they're hitting right now. Even though we have a higher end wind threat, I think more of you will see straight line wind damage. There is still the possibility for tornadoes. Case in point, that tornado warning that we're breaking into coverage for right now, just a little bit after 1 o'clock in the morning. And if you're wondering when these storms make their way near me, let's walk you through this briefly. We want to show you just an hour by hour update line, heavy, intense rain, lots of thunderstorm activity. Look at all this warm, muggy air ahead of that line. This is going to fuel this system as it heads east. And we've made mention to the fact that this is a very quick mover. This is not going to be something that lingers over your area for hours and hours and hours. We're likely going to be done with this system in the next 6 to 7 hours as it moves east and southeast. But as that line does so, we don't really break up the intensity much. Models have been very consistent with this holding its momentum. That is why everyone in Alabama has a risk, from Huntsville to Mobile and everywhere in between, west to east, north to south. And as that line heads east quickly, by 2, 3 o'clock, some of you closer to Montgomery, northeast side of the capital city, closer to Lake Martin, that's Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers County, our friends in Elmore, Macon, you'll start to see this knock on your doorstep and impact you. Also, south side of Montgomery, going down I-65 into our southwestern county, some really robust storms, and there's really not going to be a whole lot to slow it down. Behind it, you dry out quickly, you cool off quickly too, so that rain cool air is definitely going to bring us some relief. But I do think we're still tracking storms in the southeast of Alabama until early tomorrow morning. So this is just the first of what could potentially be many severe thunderstorm warnings, but specifically tornado warning we got to get you prepped for. Our friends who live close to the Perry County line, Josh Johnson is going to talk a little bit more about what's going on in the Vince-Lawford storm track zone. We're constantly, Josh, in communication with the National Weather Service offices.
That's right.
This one in particular is going to be coming out of Birmingham. They've been watching that cell for a county or two as it crossed over the Mississippi state line. So what's the latest in Perry County now that that cell is inching closer to our friends in Perry County inside that tornado polygon?
Yeah, they actually just said they think it's very close to producing a tornado now. So the rotation tightening up right over New Bern. So this is in Hale County, but crossing into Perry County as we speak. There you see it here in the Vance Law Firm storm track zone. Your possible tornado would again be right near New Bern, maybe a tick south of it there. You've got a little bit of a kind of a hope forming right there. So we'll go into the velocity product and see what we can see there, the rotation tracker. And there you have it. That's you're still seeing that pretty persistent rotation there on the east and southeast side of New Bern. It's now exclusively in Perry County, so I would anticipate in the next few minutes the warning for Hale County will be allowed to expire, but we still have the active tornado warning over to Perry County. Another housekeeping note to pass along, the National Weather Service telling us they are likely going to soon issue a new tornado watch east of the existing watch. You've seen that on your screen throughout the evening. It includes almost of all of our area already. The only counties not in it are in the far eastern sections of the state. That's going to change. So if you're watching this in places like Chambers and Lee and Russell and Barber counties, understand you're not in the tornado watch yet, but a new watch will probably be issued downstream that will include your area. So that's sort of where we are right now. Possible tornado coming into the New Bern area, actually just passed through New Bern, movement here towards the east pretty rapidly across southern Perry County. We'll do another quick storm track on this. Movement is to the east. In fact, I'll actually have to broaden this out a little more. It gets into the Marion area around 114 to 115. So you're running out of time. You've got about 8 to 10 minutes to get into that tornado safe place. A tornado could form at any moment. The other thing we'll point out here, irrespective of any specific tornado, right? Even if there's not a tornado in this, there is ample evidence to support the idea of strong straight line wind gusts, potentially high enough to cause damage in and of themselves, right? So let me take you in here and show you some of the raw values we're seeing. Look at this. Now remember, this is up at cloud level, but we're seeing fairly consistent 70, 75 mile per hour returns there. This is just strong straight line wind. So yes, there could be a tornado in the middle of it there, but did they kill that tornado warning?
No, they just did a new one
killed
for
it.
Dallas. New
new one
severe
for Dallas.
thunderstorm warning. It's
For the
severe.
line.
Yes, for the line. And then also for our friends in Chilton County. So they're getting ready for that line. It's producing damaging wind threat all up and down it, but in particular, that one little notch we've been keeping an eye on, moving closer to Marion in Perry County. That's the one spot in particular they're concerned for that tornado rotation, but they've just expanded those big kind of broad brushings of the severe thunderstorm warnings. The wind gusts, I think, are going to be a major player up and down this line, no matter where you are in Alabama tonight.
You're exactly right. Now, she's talking about the big severe thunderstorm warnings. Right now, severe thunderstorm warnings in Alabama go all the way from the Chattanooga suburbs back down continuously, I'm talking, across all of North Alabama, essentially. St. Clair, Etowah, Blount County, Jefferson County, Talladega, Shelby, and then from there it goes into our area. Dallas County, you've now got a severe thunderstorm warning. Damaging straight line wind is possible. Chilton County, same thing. Back down into Wilcox County, same thing. So active severe thunderstorm warnings are up and down this entire stretch of weather here. And by the way, this is the Birmingham radar, so it cuts off on the south side, but the line goes all the way down to the Gulf Coast. So the National Composite will do a little bit better job of giving you some context on how long the line is. It goes from essentially Chattanooga to Birmingham to New Orleans right now, and everyone in our area is going to have to deal with this. Not everyone will have a tornado, not everyone will have wind damage, but everyone in our area is going to have to deal with torrential rain and thunder and lightning and gusty wind, and it's going to happen in a time of night and morning when no one wants that to happen. So be prepared there, and just understand there will be pockets of severe thunderstorm wind damage, and there will be pockets of rotation where we've become increasingly concerned about the possibility of a tornado. So let's take it back into Perry County. That's why we're on WSFA right now for an active tornado warning coming now into the city of Marion. You have to take cover right now. You've got pretty strong evidence of rotation right out here in this area. So that's where the rotation exists. This is your base reflectivity. This is just typical radar, right? This shows you how hard it's raining. But we as meteorologists, what we look for are little kinks in the line, like the one you see right there, and that is a telltale giveaway that you're seeing strong mid-level rotation. The million-dollar question right now is, does that strong mid-level rotation extend down all the way to the surface in the form of a tornado, or is it just a storm that's spinning up at the cloud level? The honest answer is, right now, we don't know. Remember, right here in western Perry County, we are a long way away from the closest radar. So the radar beam from Birmingham, by the time it gets out here to western Perry County, is several thousand feet above the ground, meaning we are missing important details in the low levels of the storm. So we have some access to other radars that can help, but those are sort of limited in many aspects too, as well. So bottom line is, there is the possibility of a tornado now coming into the west end of Marion, movement here steadily towards the east. So this is going to go right over Marion. If you live in Marion, this is a potentially life-threatening situation. The decisions you make over the course of the next few minutes will be very important, right? Because if there is indeed a tornado in this, the decisions you make are going to be the difference in some cases between life and death. So you need to get to that safe place immediately. Lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, closet. If you don't want to be disconnected from our information, you can use the WSFA First Alert Weather app on your mobile device or on your tablet. Or if you don't have any of those things, just turn the volume on the TV up as loud as it'll go and go get you into that tornado safe place. The app is a better option because if your power goes out, the TV does too. That's why we recommend using the First Alert Weather app. Even if your home internet goes out, a lot of you will still be able to access information on the First Alert Weather app. So stream it that way, and that way when you get into that safe place, you don't have to worry about the television losing power. Broader perspective here. Thunderstorms still firing along and ahead of the line. The line itself now runs through much of West Alabama. Scattered storms going out ahead of it. What we will be watching, a couple of things here. Do any of these storms begin to intensify? That's first thing. Hopefully they do not. Do any of these storms start to interfere with the line itself as it moves east? Hopefully so. That would be really good if they could disrupt some of that. But right now, we have one active tornado warning. It's for Perry County, including the city of Marion. And then we have just a gang load here of severe thunderstorm warnings, because up and down this entire line, there's the potential for 50, 60, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Quick update from the National Weather Service. They are going to add Chambers, Lee, Macon, Russell, Bullock, Pike, and Barber counties to that tornado watch until 6 a.m.
So that's everyone but the Wiregrass.
That will be everyone but the Wiregrass. Now the good news is, as they do that, give it another half hour, and I think they'll start to clear Marengo. You know, a lot of these western, that's the one benefit of having a line that's moving as fast as this thing is. For Marengo County, it's really rough in the eastern part of the county now, but the risk of severe weather will only last another 30 minutes or so. Once you get to 145 in Marengo, it's gone. Once you get, I think, to 2 a.m. in Perry, it's gone. But timing this out, let's kind of do a quick kind of estimate on this. I think that would be the line position somewhere around 2. Then by 3, I think we're getting pretty close into Montgomery. By 4 o'clock, I think we're over here in mainly East Alabama. By 5 o'clock, we're essentially in the Wiregrass, and I think by 6 a.m., this whole thing is almost completely gone. So this is just again, a very quick and dirty analysis here, but I think by 2, this is coming into Selma and Maplesville and Camden. By 3, it's coming into Prattville, Millbrook, Slapout, Alex City, Montgomery, and Greenville. By 4, Andalusia, Opp, Troy, Union Springs, Tuskegee, and Auburn. By 5, Eufaula, Clio, Elba, Enterprise, and Geneva. By 6, it's down into Houston County, and not long after 6 o'clock, maybe even by 6 o'clock, this is all in a different time zone. This will move over into the state of Georgia. Power outages, they're beginning to come up. Let me show you this real quick here, and then I'm going to toss over to meteorologist Amanda Curran. We're starting to see the numbers go up statewide. Let me do the statewide numbers here. This is for the entire state of Alabama now. That power outage number, 70,000 in Alabama, 62,000 in Mississippi. And unfortunately, I think we will end up with over 100,000 people without power tonight, because this line of storms, as it moves east, moves into increasingly populated areas. And the other thing, understand there's a little bit of a lag here, right, between in the reporting. You'll notice the counties where the storms are right now, we're just starting to see some numbers come in. For instance, Hale County, the worst of it's already through. We're up to 5,000 outages. In Marengo, we've got around 800. Up in Tuscaloosa, 16,000. These numbers will fill in across central Alabama as the line marches steadily eastward. So here's meteorologist Amanda Curran. She's doing some analysis as well over at our second weather position. Amanda, what do you see?
Yeah, so we're exclusively talking this tornado warning that's in Perry County, and now that has exclusively crossed over into Perry County, you are losing time. If you have not already, in places like Marion or Sprott, gotten into that tornado safe place, you have a very limited window of opportunity. Things are going to start to really go downhill in a hurry. So here's what we're tracking right now, this main line itself. You see these bright areas of that dark red and pink. That's going to be the heaviest rain that radar is picking up on, and embedded inside of that rain, potential rotation that we're keeping an eye on. When we show you this, the different colors indicate that the wind is not moving all in the same direction. So usually we get this line and everybody's seeing wind that's moving in one direction, and at times we're definitely getting these brighter green spots which tell our radar, hey, some things are moving faster than others. So those are going to be those damaging wind gusts that we can still indicate on radar. But once you start to see these areas of different colors come together and do so in very small little tight couplets, that is telling us that we have not wind moving in one direction, we have wind moving in all different directions. The radar beam gets sent out, it is able to then bring that information back, and it's telling us all of this storm is not moving unidirectional. So keep in mind that you need to know right here, that's where we're going to have that area of rotation that we're keeping an eye on that prompted those tornado warnings earlier in parts of Alabama and Mississippi, and now specifically into parts of Perry County. I will say technically, unless you live on the south side of Hamburg, this storm and its rotation likely is going to stay north of you, but still, you're right on that cusp of that tornado warning. And I will say that all of these severe thunderstorm warnings should probably be taken just as seriously because of that damaging wind threat and how widespread it's going to be. Kind of broad brushing this whole entire line, you can see all of these orange polygons are severe thunderstorm warnings. And those are going to be broad brushed out into Dallas and now Chilton County, and down the line ahead of this main area of heavy rain and storm activity. National Weather Service offices will then put those severe thunderstorm warnings out to get you prepared. We then relay that information to you. So it's not just going to be a tornado threat. Inside this line, yes, there's one area of rotation we're currently keeping an eye on as it marches through the Marion community, but the whole entire line is going to be capable of producing wind speeds upwards of 50 to 70 miles an hour. Josh made great mention of the fact that power outages could be a big issue. So hopefully, before you went to bed, you plugged all your devices in. You want to try to keep them on as much of a charge as you can while you can, because if you lose power, you're going to still need a way to get new, updated information. Good thing about NOAA weather radios, they have that plug, but they also have battery backup. So that battery backup will last for days. You want to make sure, though, that you keep those batteries fresh in your weather radio and your devices, like your iPads, like your cell phone. You can stream our coverage on WSFA.com/live, inside your First Alert Weather app, your news app as well, any one of those streaming platforms, on your television. But once you lose power, I know that that is a limited thing, so there are multiple places where you can still watch us, even if you are one of the people that potentially loses power because of this gusty wind. Take a look, big, large line, and I will say it is steadily moving through the area, heading east. But this is slicing through the northeast corner of Alabama. There's several tornado warnings in that upper extent of the line. We have just the one right now, but in between all of that, severe thunderstorm warnings kind of blanket the entire area. So from northeast down to southwest, this will be a quick moving line. So at any given location, it will not be storming for hours on end. You get 30 to 45 minutes of heavy rain, wind damage potential, and also the possibility of rotation. And then once it moves on out, I think, yes, there's some rain building in behind it. That is all sub-severe. The atmosphere is then kind of overworked and cooled because of the storm activity. So you still get the benefits of some rain. When, don't get me wrong, there are several of you right here in West Alabama still under drought conditions. So while rain is definitely welcome, the storm threat is definitely not going to be your friend. Keep an eye on this, but let's talk timing of the storms. If you're watching us anywhere but Perry County and you want to know when does rain move into your area, we put these in alphabetical order. We won't go through every single one, but I want you to do is take a second to whatever screen you're looking at right now, whether that's your television, your computer, your cell phone. Take a minute to stop and find the county that you live in. Autauga, places like Prattville, that's the county you live in. Close to Autauga, places like Elmore and Montgomery. Look where your county is right now and find that time frame. We have 3-hour time frames. Some of these counties, their window of opportunity has already opened as we've been tracking those storms. The 3-hour time frame is not, it is going to storm and be severe for 3 hours. It's a kind of beginning of severe threat to possible latest end scenario. So, great example. We have a tornado warning in Perry. We told you your window of opportunity would start at about 11 and end at about 2. It is 1:20 right now, and I think by 2 o'clock, this storm will be out of Perry County, onto the next, but there are still several counties to the east and southeast of Perry County that have not quite made it there yet. So of the counties we have, Marengo, Perry, they were some of the ones that had happened before midnight into the early morning hours of our now Sunday. Happy Sunday for all of you who were up early this morning. There are still several of you, though, where your window of opportunity is about to start, whether that's the 2, 3, 4 o'clock time frame, or maybe it's a little bit later in the early morning. That's going to be for east and southeastern portions of the state. So remember, if you can't see this on the device you're watching right now, this is posted on Facebook, this is posted on Twitter, X, whatever we call it. It's on the social media sites that you're on. It's on WSFA.com in the story that we post all of our First Alert Weather Day updates. It is inside your First Alert Weather app. So find your county. This is the 3-hour window. You need to be prepared. If that's not you staying up for 3 hours, that's okay. If that's you going to bed or having multiple reliable ways of getting weather information, that is great. You need to make sure you have something that can wake you up, that can alert you. A NOAA weather radio is like having your own personal tornado siren inside the four walls of your house. Tornado sirens are not meant to be heard indoors. If you're lucky enough to be able to hear it, that's fine, but that's not its intended purpose. A NOAA weather radio is a cheap alternative, $30 to $40. You set it for whatever county you live in, and if and when a warning comes, whether it's a tornadic system or one with straight line winds, you will get that alerted, and trust me, they're pretty hard to sleep through. So we are very much keeping an eye on what's going on radar. Remember, big line of shower and thunderstorm activity all up and down it. We are talking heavy rain and a damaging wind threat. Zooming in a little bit closer, you can see that line now right over and passing east of the Marion community. We'll zoom in just a little bit in just a second. But remember, this big line all up and down it. We are talking damaging wind threat, but at times, especially in northeast Alabama, we're getting these little pockets of rotation. The one in particular we're monitoring is in Perry County and Perry County alone. But we know the drill. We know what this has been capable of producing so far since coming over the Alabama-Mississippi state line. We know what it's continued to do on radar. So, do want to give a first alert heads up to our friends who live east of Perry County. Not saying that the gate for a tornado safe place at this exact moment, but I will say, better late than never, right? You want to get in sooner rather than later. I will say this probably goes on the south side of Maplesville, and it's probably going to go to the north of Valley Grande. Kind of split the difference between those two. I think that's where this portion of rotation likely heads for. But remember, on either side, north, south, or west, we are going to be talking a damaging wind threat with this. Remember, the heavy rain is now pushing out of the Marion community. So while we're able to maybe give our friends in far western portions of Perry County a little bit of relief sooner rather than later, this heavy rain is just now really taking shape over the Sprott community. Look at these bright returns we get right here. That's telling me that's some very intense rain. The radar is picking up on tons of different things, including how intense the rain is. And the brighter that color is, it's telling us how heavy it is. New update just now coming in, literally in seconds. We are trimming part of that tornado warning polygon and continuing that tornado warning for parts of eastern central Perry County. So people who live in Marion, if you're right along 14, but you go closer to the west side of Perry County, you are no longer under a tornado warning. That tornado threat has now passed east of you, but we still actively have a lot of people who live inside this red polygon to the northeast of Hamburg, right over the Sprott community and points east, as we inch closer and closer to where Perry eventually comes into play with eventually Taga, the south and western corner right here of Chilton County. I think you're up next. If we get a new tornado warning from the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, they're likely going to continue to draw it out towards the east. That would clip the southwestern corner of our friends in Chilton County. Can't promise that Maplesville will be in it. We'll keep an eye on that, but then eventually this could crawl over into the northern and western corner of Autauga County, and that's where we find our friends like Billingsley. Also, we're not thinking about forgetting you, Valley Grande. We're keeping an eye on you, and then Selma too. This is going to be just north of you, but still, remember the northern extent and the southern extent of this line still featuring a damaging wind threat. So a lot happening, but the one spot in particular that's causing concern for rotation still in Perry County. And the good thing is that we're not the only ones working. We have meteorologists who work at the wonderful National Weather Service offices that cover Central and South Alabama. That's Mobile, Tallahassee, Florida, and our friends in Birmingham who are responsible for this warning and issuing new ones down the line. So we want to check in with Chief Meteorologist Josh Johnson. He's standing by in the Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone. Josh, you've been in constant communication. We're able to have a little bit of a chat room environment with the National Weather Service office meteorologists and kind of get their insight. We're able to discuss what we see and our kind of understanding of what's going on in the atmosphere, and they're able to kind of give us that first alert to if and when they expect to expand warning. So if they said anything about potentially bringing this further east, it doesn't look like it's losing a lot of momentum as of this moment.
Yeah, not yet. They really got their hands full right now. They've issued a couple of these severe thunderstorm warnings up here along the northern flank of the line, up in the Calhoun, Clay, and Talladega counties. But they are getting very near decision time here on this storm. So we are still seeing some evidence of rotation. I would suggest it's not quite as much as it was a couple of minutes ago, but it's still out there. It's still rotating. We'll go over to the Birmingham radar, click rotation here, and there it is right there. You can see it, right? It's right there. where the red gets a little brighter and then a little darker close together there. That's where we're seeing a little bit of that rotation within the storm, right around Osborne, between Radford and Osborne, movement here towards the east. So as Amanda did a great job of tracking this, this is going to, in a matter of minutes here, cross over eventually on into Dallas County. This is Alabama 219 running north and south. This is going to cross 219 any minute now. 219 is a pretty big, important north-south road over in this part of the state. Then from there, this goes over towards the far northern tip of Dallas County. There's a community called Panhandle because of the way the county kind of slivers in there. That Panhandle area there in northernmost Dallas County, you're not formally under a tornado warning yet, but I think you need to be paying close attention to this one as it comes on through. And then we'll kind of watch and see too some interesting storm structure things happening with these cells merging into the line up here, a little bit more into western Chilton and northeastern Perry. I think that's an area that would need to be watched as well. So that's something we'll keep an eye on. Then we're getting some individual cells firing out ahead of the line. Now, this will be really interesting to see, and really is going to be very important to determine, do these storms begin to sort of take on a strength and a life of their own? If they do, they're in an environment down here in southwest Alabama where we haven't had a lot of rain yet today. So it's warm, it's muggy, there's still enough wind shear around. This would be a favored area for tornado development if these storms can find enough warm air to sustain an updraft, to sustain themselves. So that's something every meteorologist in the state of Alabama right now is watching out ahead of the line to see how these kind of maintain their health, right? The one good thing with a situation like this, sometimes with a very fast-moving line like what we have now, it will overtake these cells and suck them into the line before they really get a chance to strengthen. Fingers crossed that's the case here. The Weather Service now telling us they have not yet seen a tornado debris signature with that rotation in Perry County. They've issued a severe thunderstorm warning out into Chilton and Dallas County. Now, we don't know yet if that's in lieu of a tornado warning or if they're just kind of getting out ahead of things a little bit. And quite frankly, right now, they just said this in chat too. They actually have severe thunderstorms going all the way from Dallas County to Etowah County. So from Selma to Gadsden right now, storms. And by the way, they stopped there because that's the end of their coverage area. But check this thing out, man. This line is just a monster. We have dozens of, maybe not dozens, we have a half dozen tornado warnings up in northeast Alabama and then southern middle Tennessee. So the nasty weather with this line extends all the way from near Nashville, just southeast of Nashville, back into Chattanooga, Fort Payne, Mentone, Gadsden, Birmingham, and then all the way down through southwest Alabama, and for that matter, all the way down through southeastern Mississippi. So this is a pretty intense line of storms that's tracking pretty steadily on towards the east there. So we'll wait, watch, and see. What we're going to do here, let's see, new update just in. Damage report now coming in from southern Hale County from this storm that we've been tracking. That storm that's now in Perry County produced some damage in southern Hale County. We don't yet know the extent of that damage. The emergency management is en route now. The Emergency Management Agency in Hale County en route now to see exactly what happened. That would be right back here, south of Greensboro. That happened earlier in Hale County. So right there, north of Demopolis, we had some damage. It's that same storm coming through now. So that's where we are. We told you at the time we thought it would probably go along the Chilton-Autauga line. I think that's still the case. But quite frankly, let's check the rotation here on this pretty quick. Still some leading edge stuff right in here. It's really kind of a messy signature. If anything, I still think it's very possible the main threat here is damaging straight line wind gust. I'll switch over to the base velocity product. That'll give us a little better idea on that. But the raw velocity product here is suggesting some really intense wind along the leading edge of the storms. The minus sign just means those are inbound winds, but 80, 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds being detected. Remember though, radar doesn't detect wind at ground level, it detects it up above us at the cloud level. So not all of this makes it down to the ground, but still, you know, these numbers, even if it's 75% of this wind that makes it down to the ground, that's still enough to cause power outages and big problems. So that's what we're concerned with there as this moves out of Perry County and into Dallas and Chilton County. Big, mean, nasty line of thunderstorms making its way through the state. You can see it extends all the way back into southwest Alabama. Movement here east. We have active severe thunderstorm warnings now for Chilton, Autauga, Dallas, Lowndes, Wilcox, much of Clark, and then curving back into Mississippi. But in our area, those are the ones: Chilton, Autauga, Dallas, Lowndes, Wilcox, for the risk of damaging straight line wind gust. So the other thing I need to point out here, you may notice in the last few scans, the color of the storm here it looks a little weaker. Time out on that, though. It's actually not. That's actually the radar itself, right up here in Birmingham, near Birmingham, is right in the middle of this line of storms. And when you get a big, heavy storm on top of a radar, it sort of mutes the returns out away from the radar. It makes them look a little weaker than they really are. So I suspect there's not actually been any sort of weakening trend with this. It's just that the rain over the radar is just temporarily making it look that way. So just a little inside baseball there. If you're watching this with us or watching this on a First Alert weather app and they're looking at the radar there, if you see that there's less red on the map in the line, that's really, I think, it has to do with rain on the radar dome up on the radome there at the Weather Service radar near Alabaster, or Calera. Tree down involving power lines up in Jefferson County. They've got all kinds of trees down up there. So this is all moving east. So heads up, Montgomery. We're still, I think, on track for around I would suggest likely a 2:15 to 2:45 arrival time. So somewhere in that 2 o'clock hour, between 2 and 3, this gets into Montgomery and Prattville and Millbrook and Lounsboro and Pike Road. So if you're watching in any of those places, understand this is all moving east, and we're all going to have to deal with this as this line moves on to the east. Let's see here. Got a couple of, they've canceled the tornado watch, Hale County and Marengo County. That's because the line has cleared both of those. So Marengo and Hale up here, the risk of severe weather has ended. This line is it. Once this line clears you, you're done with the risk of severe weather. The problem is that's going to take, I think, a pretty good while longer. That's going to be another probably 3.5-ish hours. I think by 5 to 6 we'll get this thing into the Wiregrass, and then from there into Georgia pretty quick. But between now and then, we're still going to have some issues here. So we haven't seen any evidence that they're going to issue this over now. The storm itself that prompted the tornado warning is almost out of Perry County and into Dallas. So what they've done is they put severe thunderstorm warnings up now for Autauga, Chilton, and Dallas out ahead of it. We have not seen a continuation of that tornado warning. We see the polygon back here in Perry. We haven't seen that get pulled over yet. So we are watching and waiting to see if that happens. There is still some rotation in that, though. You can see it right there. Some rotation coming now into northern Dallas. So if you look at Plantersville, and for that matter, the northwestern corner of Autauga, so I'm talking Milton, Billingsley, and Jones, you need to be in that tornado safe place, just in case, right? You don't have to stay there long either. The way this thing's moving so quickly, odds are good. 15 minutes, this is through Plantersville and through Jones and through Milton and through a lot of those communities I just named here. They're out ahead of this thing. And quite frankly, this rotation is relatively minor in the grand scheme of things. This is not a slam dunk that there's a tornado, right? We can't confirm a tornado in this. We can tell you there is indeed some modest rotation, though, coming here into northern Dallas County, embedded within this big, mean line of storms. And we want to take the whole threat seriously here. This is the kind of scenario where the straight line wind damage can be just as rough as an EF0 or 1 tornado. So I don't want you to de-emphasize severe thunderstorm warnings, right? If you live in an area that's in a severe thunderstorm warning, no, it's about to get very windy. You need to stay away from windows and doors. You need to stay indoors. You need to stay towards the middle part of your house, just as a course of least regret, if we were to get one of these quick sort of spin-up style tornadoes in the mix here as well. So it's 1:35 to reset. I'm WSFA First Alert Chief Meteorologist Josh Johnson, along with meteorologist Amanda Curran and meteorologist Madeline Banks. We are tracking storms for you this evening, and we have a lot of them. A big, mean, ugly line of storms extends across most of the state now. Within it, there are multiple areas of damaging straight-line wind gust. Power outages continue to rise quickly across the state as damaging wind puts many people in Alabama in the dark as these storms push through. But that's not the only problem we're up against. We also have within this line embedded pockets of rotation. We have multiple tornado warnings in the state now. One of them is in Perry County. That's why we're on the air right now. There are additional tornado warnings in the general corridor from Birmingham to Chattanooga up Interstate 59. All of this is racing eastward very quickly. If there is any good news to pass along, that's it. This will not linger, right? It's 1:36 in the morning. This has already cleared Marengo and Hale County. It's almost through Perry County. It's in Dallas, Wilcox, and Chilton. So this will move quickly eastward, and we are projecting by 5 to 6 a.m., this is out of the WSFA area and exclusively down in the far southeastern corner of the state, and not long after that, it's over in Georgia. So that's the silver lining in all of this. So the tornado warning extends officially until 1:45, but the storm's out of Perry County. So we'll be interested to see if the Weather Service trims that thing back a little bit. What we will probably do, we'll probably just maintain more coverage, quite frankly, through at least 2, maybe take a break and then come back around 2:15, 2:30. We'll probably do updates throughout the night because the straight line wind damage threat with this is fairly substantial, and this is moving through the core of our sort of service area. So there's going to be a lot of people that are waking up in the middle of the night wondering what in the world's going on. So we will be in and out, yes, but we will maintain at the very least very frequent updates, if not continuous coverage, through most of the next hour or two because of the way this thing's moving through with the risk of significant damaging straight line wind. Let me quickly check on power outages. We'll go county by county here using our Vance Law Firm Storm Track Zone. Yeah, we're starting to see the numbers come up. When I showed you this graphic a few minutes ago, we didn't have anything in Dallas, we didn't have anything in Wilcox. Now Wilcox up to 200, Dallas has 200, Marengo's in there at 1,000, Hale County 5,000, 1,000 people in Perry County. Now in West Alabama, look, Hale County does not have many people in it. 5,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but check this out. When you do that by the percentage of the county that has no power, it's 75% of the population of Hale County is now without electricity. In Marengo County, the number's 14.5%. In Perry County, it's a quarter. Back in Sumter County, it's almost 30%. So these are given the population out here, the numbers are actually pretty substantial. These are pretty large numbers of people who are in the dark now due to the straight line wind damage as this comes on through. So power outages continue to skyrocket. Let's check the statewide number now as well. This again is not the percentage, but just the raw number. Look at that. We are rapidly approaching 93,000 without electricity. Now understand, I showed you this graphic minutes ago, not even a half hour ago, and it was just over 70,000. So we've added 20,000 or so in the last 22, 23 minutes. So on that trajectory, we're going to easily eclipse 100,000 people without electricity in the state. And that number may go as high as 150 or 200,000, depending on exactly how strong this is as it moves through some of the larger population centers in central Alabama, Selma and Montgomery and Prattville and Millbrook, and then up into East Alabama, Anniston and Gadsden getting into some of this. We'll start to see some power outage numbers climb there in East Central Alabama as this thing comes on through over the course of the next hour or so. So still no update. Let me, just going to ask them. It's a severe thunderstorm warning. So we'll just chat with them on there.
100,000.
So what now?
100,000.
Oh, wow. It just updated. How about that? So 100,000 without power in Alabama. In Mississippi, the number is 62,000. Georgia, don't worry. Your time's going to come. The line's not quite there yet, but as it moves in there, it will. The number will go up there too. They are not extending that tornado warning into Dallas and Autauga, which we kind of knew. I mean, that storm was basically out of the county anyway, so it was sort of a scenario where if they hadn't done it by now, when were they going to do it? But we can tell you in Perry County, we can give you an all clear. The tornado warning polygon is still. They're going to let it ride for another 5 minutes, but the dangerous part of that storm is now exclusively in Dallas and Chilton County. So Selma, heads up, gusty wind coming into Selma right now. It is pouring rain. There's tons of thunder and lightning within this, and we'll wait and see I'll check the observation post out there at Craig Field and see if we see any specific wind reports coming in. We can actually do that here too. Go into wind, see if we see anything. A lot of times this is a little slow to respond when there's severe thunderstorms. So these are just winds out ahead of the line. These are not really thunderstorm related winds. So we'll can that idea and get back to the radar here. And I will check Craig Field too to see if we've had any, what kind of reports we've had. This line though, there are severe thunderstorm warnings, by the way, right now continuously from Middle Tennessee to Southeast Mississippi. So just a belt of severe thunderstorm warnings up and down that entire stretch, running from almost Nashville to basically Baton Rouge in New Orleans. So yeah, this is just a monster of a line with a ton of wind in it. Last report from Craig Field was 7:55 yesterday morning, so we're not going to get any data out of that. So we'll watch, wait, and see what the Weather Service tells us as far as those wind speeds go.
An honest effort.
An honest effort. That's all you can do, right? So we'll ride this. Let's stay on until 2, and then from there, I think what we could probably do would be updates every 30 minutes. So we'll hold until 2, and then we'll do an update at 2:30 and 3 and 3:30 and 4 and 4:30 and 5 as the line moves through. And if we see any uptick in the intensity, if we see any rotation, if there's any tornado warnings, we'll just go continuous, right? But otherwise, we'll plan on just doing updates every 30 minutes or so. So that will be the plan moving forward, and we'll adjust the plan, right? That's the first casualty of every battle is your plan, but that's our plan right now, is to give you that update every half hour, more updates as needed. So we'll keep an eye on all of this. But right now it's coming into Chilton County, Autauga County, Dallas County, Wilcox County. Strong straight line wind. Power outages are increasingly likely. Free advice: if you're out ahead of this line, plug up your mobile device, plug in your phone, charge it up. Tablets, anything you can plug in, get those things plugged in, get them charging ahead of this, so that if you were to lose power, you can use the First Alert Weather app and keep yourself informed as we go on through the night ahead. So that's my free advice. The good news, I have several pieces of good news. It's moving fast, that's one. The other piece of good news has to do with that. Not a big flood threat. It's raining really hard, but because the storms are moving so quickly, that heavy rain's only going to last a matter of minutes. So, 20, 30, 40 minutes of torrential rain, then it kicks on out. Then the rain, it rains for a while after the storms, but it's more light to moderate rain on the back end of it. So let's head back over to Amanda now. We'll see what she's seeing on radar right now. The good news is, Amanda, we have no active tornado warnings, but this is about as strong of a squall line and straight line wind threat as we've seen around here in probably a year or two.
Yeah, I will say, compared to Wednesday, I know obviously top of mind, people like to think short term of what's happened as of late. I think Wednesday's storm threat was impactful for sure, loud, lots of lightning, lots of thunder. I will say there's not as much of it today, but I do think there is more of a widespread wind threat. Like Josh mentioned, over 100,000 people without power in the state of Alabama. And that's not necessarily just central portions of the state that we cover. This line extends all the way north, closer to the east side of Birmingham, also for those storms that roll through the west side of the Birmingham metro, also closer to the north corner of the state where those active tornado warnings are still at play. So those also contribute to the power outage numbers, but we're getting updates of these severe thunderstorm warnings, just kind of broad brushing ahead of the line. The National Weather Service is just like us. They want to give you as much time to prepare for what is to come. So it might not be actively storming for places like eastern Autauga or eastern Chilton, parts of Coosa or Elmore County. Lowndes, you're seeing some rain right now, but the main line itself is still moving out of Perry, slicing right through the heart of Dallas County right now. But thankfully, inside this line, we're no longer seeing any signs of rotation. This looks like it's really started to just kind of get swallowed up by the main line itself, which means damaging wind all up and down this, right over the Maplesville community right now. Got some friends out there. They're probably watching early this morning. Friends in Jemison. Heavy rain just now picking up for you. You are going to see even more of that along with the gusty wind. But thankfully, look how small and thin this line is. Yes, there's heavy rain all up and down it, but places like Valley Grande, you're going to get heavy rain knocking on your doorstep, if not already. Selma coming down really good right now, and it's not going to last for too much longer. We're not going to be talking about a long duration of multiple hours of rain. That eliminates the flood threat, which is good, but it also means that we're able to get in and out of this severe weather risk and do so quickly. The problem is we still have severe weather risk, so even if it's only 20, 30 minutes of activity, that is still enough time for these damaging wind gusts to potentially cause concern, whether that's a threat to life or property. We want to make sure that you take all of these severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued just as seriously as a tornado warning. This extends all the way down into Wilcox County. Our friends in Camden, you're getting that heavy rain. You can kind of see those hit or miss lightning bolts that are popping up. Down the road, this is going to move eastward through parts of Dallas and Wilcox County, so I want to give you a heads up to that. No real, though, signs of major rotation. I will say that any little bouts of spin we had earlier have really started to become a lot more of just a straight line with really not a ton of evidence showing that there is continuous spin. So one of the many reasons why the National Weather Service office in Birmingham decided not to extend that tornado warning and just to kind of continue to broad brush with those severe thunderstorm warnings. And those extend all the way down into Baldwin and Mobile County. That's the southwestern corner, stretches all the way up into the northeastern corner where Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama come together. And up there are several severe thunderstorm warnings that we're keeping an eye on. So what kind of impacts do we get from this? Well, first let's talk timing. For some of you, it has not started raining yet. We want you to find your county or the one closest to where you are currently watching us from. That's where you want to get the most information for. And those 3-hour time windows are from the earliest arrival time to the latest departure time. That does not mean that it is going to storm in any given county for 3 total hours. Remember, these are counties. Some of these counties are very long from west to east, so it's going to take time for it to make it through the entire county. But overall, you want to find the closest one to where you are right now. Look at that time frame, and that is where you need to be as vigilant as possible, whether that is staying awake. We know there are several people who have storm anxiety, and storms like this obviously make it hard for them to get a good night's sleep. Or if you're able to sleep through it, make sure you have multiple reliable ways to get weather information. That will be of the utmost importance. Now, obviously, wind, a major impact, and I think that's more of the widespread threat. It does not mean that there are not other impacts. I think we've already seen that rotation and spin in West Alabama, and while we hope that that is the last of it, we can't guarantee that there will not be more pockets of rotation embedded inside this main line. What we do know is that line is producing a ton of heavy rain, gusty wind, and at times those wind gusts are getting up to 50, 60 plus miles an hour, prompting severe thunderstorm warnings, because those kind of wind speeds are very much able to produce damage. When it comes to a tornado, obviously we think about one, visualizing it, being able to see a funnel. You also think too about the damage, but they're very similar. Damaging wind from a straight line incident can be just as impactful to you, your property, or your life as a tornado. The only difference is a tornado, the wind is moving in multiple directions and rotating, and sometimes we're able to visualize that. It's very hard to visualize a damaging wind threat, and I think sometimes that's why that is kind of the underlying thing that people forget about. Is they forget that damaging straight line wind can cause over 100,000 people to be without power early on this Sunday morning. This line continues to head east, and as it does so, it continues to pack a punch, localized heavy rain, that damaging wind threat, and also the possibility for rotation inside this line. All of those things are going to be impactful, but in a very short window of opportunity. We do not anticipate this being a long night of on storms for hours and hours. We do anticipate it being a long night as it travels quickly east and southeast, but eventually as we head later on in the morning, just in about 2.5 hours, this is heading right for the Wiregrass in southeast Alabama, and we'll be able to give a lot of you the all clear. Some of you in West Alabama already getting the all clear as those showers and storms are rolling out, and your severe weather threat has now been eliminated, but we'll continue to watch as it tries to linger in the southeastern corner of Alabama, and then things are changing in a big way. Much colder air. Your early morning low is not going to be your lowest temperature of the day, and your afternoon high is not going to be the warmest temperature of the day. We see 30s in Huntsville, 40s in Birmingham, big change, but 50s and cooler compared to the 70s we're dealing with right now. It is going to be a blustery day, even if we get rid of some of those clouds and see some sunshine. We are not warming up in a big way. If anything, temperatures are falling throughout the afternoon. I think many of you try to rebound, but it's just going to be a little bit hard with the timing of that front, where most of you are probably already at your balance point for the day. So when we look at the climate data later on, it's probably going to say our high in Montgomery was 70-something degrees, but it's not going to say it happens at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably going to say that it happens at 12:30 in the morning. So keep in mind, much colder air, big change for the pattern, and there'll be more changes on the way as well. But we're talking about the here and now, and we're going to continue our coverage of what's going on First Alert Radar. Even though there's not an active tornado warning in our viewing area, we will continue to treat all severe thunderstorm warnings like they are impactful, because they come with that damaging wind threat. I do think the highest impact happening right now in west and southwest Alabama, but that does not mean our eastern counties are completely in the clear. You still have the opportunity to deal with these strong and severe storms. When you look at the timing, some of these counties that have not yet started, it's almost 2 o'clock. There are some of you where your window of opportunity is just about to open up. Places like Bullock and Chambers County. Barber County, it's going to take a little while, maybe another hour or two, but you're in that 2 to 5 window where I think the early morning hours could be active for you. Some other counties eventually down the line, Otago, you're already in it, and you're seeing that line into the western portions of the county. Elmore, Lowndes, Montgomery County, you're going to be dealing with that in pretty short order. And this is a quick moving line, but you're going to continue to get alerts. As this marches eastward, there are going to be alerts that go up ahead of the main part of the system, which is the heavy rain threat and also the gusty, damaging wind threat. Thankfully, though, I think any rotation we're keeping an eye on, some small little bouts of rotation, but the main line itself looks like it is behaving as of right now, and still severe thunderstorm warnings capable of not only bringing a damaging wind threat to places like Billingsley right now, but power outages have been a major issue. Josh Johnson has been monitoring those, but he's also been monitoring what's going on with the National Weather Service Office. They're the ones who are responsible for issuing our warnings. We give you that first alert heads up that these damaging wind threats are coming, but they are the ones who are responsible for triggering those severe thunderstorm warnings inside your app. So Josh, I know that they didn't continue that tornado warning. We're still keeping an eye on a ton of people who are down the line getting ready within the next 15-20 minutes to see these storms roll through their area. What can you say when it comes to damage reports so far? Are they reporting anything out in west and northwest Alabama where this line was just a couple hours ago?
They are, yes, and even up into North Alabama now, Amanda, we're getting a lot of reports coming in from the Birmingham Metro over towards Gadsden, trees down there, trees down in Helena, tree on a house there in Helena. So lots of tree down reports coming in to the National Weather Service. They are also monitoring, and Amanda actually caught this a moment ago, a little wee tiny bit of rotation. This would be in Billingsley, right up here along US Highway 82. This would be very near, there's a service station right there. This 82 winds up through here, and there's actually this road right here, it's at the crest of a hill. And if you turn right, you head back towards Billingsley School. If you keep going north on 82, you run up into southern Chilton. So right there, and the new scan coming in, looks like it's now ticked a little east of there. So a little rotation right now along Big Springs Church Road, Big Spring Road, approaching Autauga County 19. There is no evidence of a tornado per se, but there is evidence of some modest rotation within this. And look, a lot of storms rotate. That's not unusual or uncommon. But what we have to kind of do is watch the entire line, and look, this thing can tighten up at any minute and drop a quick tornado. So it's important to understand what we're up against here, in that up and down this entire line, there will be pockets of wind damage, right? Straight line winds. And then at a moment's notice, you could get a very quick spin up tornado that could form from what appeared on the radar to initially be very weak rotation. So it's vital that you kind of keep your eyes open here. So we're going to do the same. Check this out. This shows you how windy it is. I want to show you quickly on our ASC Credit Union camera network, and take out to Montgomery Regional Airport. It is raining sideways at the airport right now. Look at that. It looks like a snowstorm, but what's happening here, the relatively small raindrops, the rain's pretty light at the airport right now, but the wind is howling so much from the south that it's literally raining sideways now at Montgomery Regional Airport. That gives you some sense as to the intensity and the power of these winds. And then occasionally it's raining straight into the camera there. It looks like we're in Star Wars. We're in the Millennium Falcon going up to hyperspeed there. That's a pretty wild shot out there out at the Montgomery Regional Airport. So there you got a pretty mean line now. Look at this. It runs from Sylacauga to Clanton to Billingsley to Autaugaville to Sardis and Richmond and Camden down towards Vredenburg and Beatrice. This is moving east extremely quickly. We came on the air, I guess a little over an hour ago now. Tornado warning coming northwest Coosa. So that is a new pocket of rotation. That's what we're talking about up and down the line here. There will be these fast hitters. There's one right there. So let me switch over. The Birmingham radar will give us a little better look in there. So we'll pop into that. That's your tornado warned storm. That's your rotation. It's right there. See it? That's it. So let's zoom in. So we've got a new tornado warning coming. This one is for northwestern Coosa County near the Gold Branch and Marble Valley communities. This will be just south of the Talladega-Coosa line. Movement with this is just north of due east. So this will go across northern Coosa County. If you live at Stewartville, Hanover, potentially Goodwater, if this rotation were to hold together long enough, you need to get into that tornado safe place right now, because we indeed now have a tornado warning in effect for northern Coosa County. You're going to see it pop on the screen there momentarily. It's for that right there. That rotation spun up very quickly, and there you see the polygon just popping up on the screen there. That's that storm-based tornado warning. Again, it is for northern Coosa County. This would be a possible tornado, and that rotation strengthening. So you got to take this seriously. This will be near Gold Branch. Movement here. This will go just north of due east across the county. So Gold Branch, take cover now. Hanover, Stewartville, Goodwater, Kellington, Hatchet, take cover now. Lowest floor of your home, hallway, bathroom, or closet if you live in a site-built home. If you live in a mobile or manufactured home, you have to get out of it. There's nothing wrong with your home. What I'm talking about with mobile and manufactured homes, the way they're anchored to the ground. Yeah, those metal straps are often completely insufficient to stand up against the wind of a tornado. So the problem is not with the home, it's that it becomes disconnected from the ground. It rolls, it flies through the air. If you're inside of it, that becomes an extremely difficult and life-threatening scenario very quickly. So we're not picking on you, we're not picking on your homes. We're just saying the way that they're anchored to the ground allows the wind of a tornado to get up under there more so than a site-built home. Even on a crawl space, you've got more blocking around the bottom of it to help keep that wind out there. So this is crossing now over the Gold Branch community. The next road's County Road 55. That would be up near Flag Mountain. If you're familiar with the real estate here, there's a place called Flag Mountain up there. It's an old CCC fire tower and camp area up there. The Conservation Corps. It's a big New Deal project a long, long time ago, but they built a lot of cool stuff, and one thing they built was the camp and the fire tower on Flag Mountain, which, in case you are wondering, the southernmost 1,000-foot peak of the entire Appalachian Trail is Flag Mountain in Coosa County. It's right up here. It's right off of County Road 55. So if you're familiar with that landmark and you live anywhere near there, now is the time to act. The decisions you make in the next minute are going to be very, very important, because there is a likely tornado approaching where you are. Weogufka, Gold Branch, Flag Mountain. Get up, move right now. This has all the makings of a storm. I suspect the next radar scan is going to come in and it's going to look pretty bad because of the way the storm structure here, the environment. I just have, this storm has that look, it has that feel to it that if we don't have a tornado yet, we may at any moment now. So I think this is going to be a fast developing situation, but we're here giving you the first alert, getting you ahead of that. So there you see it, there it is. Yeah, I would say it probably tightened up a little. This would be just north of Gold Branch now. This is going to move right across northern Coosa County. So Gold Branch, Flag Mountain, Weogufka, Stewartville, Hanover, 231 north of Rockford, State Route 9, northern part of the county, US 280 from Kellington back up to the Talladega line. If you live along any of those major highways, get into that tornado safe place. This is moving east-northeast. I'll have to check the exact motion on this that they've got it. They've got it, looks like east at 65. These things are just hauling. I would suggest to you that it is really a little more east-northeast. So we're going to put a storm track on this thing east-northeast about like that at around 65 miles per hour. And that puts us into Goodwater in the next 15 minutes or so, Kellington in the next 20 minutes or so. And then downstream, should this hold together, we'll have to watch southern Clay County and far northern Tallapoosa County in the mix here as well. So a developing tornado likely in northern Coosa County. Take cover right now. Get to that lowest floor. If you live in a mobile or manufactured home, get out of it. I'm going to reset the stage here and then toss back over to Amanda. If you're watching us in Autauga County, the weather's getting rough. Chilton County, the weather is rough. Heads up for Prattville. This is a nasty line of storms now that runs from Independence and Otagoville back up to near Booth. It's moving east quickly. So Marbury, Pine Level, Prattville, stay indoors, stay away from windows, stay off the roads. Obviously, you don't need to be out sightseeing or driving. This time of night, that should be a pretty easy request to satisfy. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But steady movement east, strong straight line wind scenario set to unfold. I'll turn the lightning on too. Lots of lightning up and down this thing. So you'll hear it coming, you'll feel it too. And this moves over. This is the kind of wind that's probably going to shake the house a little bit. It's going to shake the trees around the house a little bit as well. So tornado warning for Coosa. Multiple severe thunderstorm warnings due to the risk of damaging straight line wind up and down that entire line. New report just in, multiple trees down across Hale County. Alabama Highway 25 south of Greensboro is blocked. That's a big road over there. State Route 25 is a big one. Major transmission lines are down. That was almost certainly a tornado. It takes a lot of wind to bring down a major power transmission line. So big power transmission lines down in Hale County south of Greensboro. So we can't officially call that a tornado, but I don't know that if it knocked down a power transmission line, it is almost certainly that. Our only active tornado warning is in Coosa, but I don't want you to sleep on severe thunderstorm warnings, which we have now in effect for all of Coosa, all of Elmore, most of Autauga, Lowndes. And a heads up, Montgomery, this isn't going to be too much farther out, right? We can actually see it here. This the view from the RSA Tower looking back to the west, the wind ahead of the line already kicking up here in downtown. Heavy rain beginning to push in as well. This is going to sweep across the capital city in the next hour. So between now and 3 o'clock, the weather in Montgomery is going to go way downhill. Torrential rain, strong damaging wind gust, power outages, and the possibility of a few brief embedded tornadic circulations in the mix there as well. So just trying to get everybody ready for all of this. The more pressing concern is the tornado warning, but these severe thunderstorm warnings are also capable of life-threatening weather right now. So there's your circulation. We'll switch back and forth between Maxwell and Birmingham. It shows up pretty well on both. It's right there. So that's the view off of the Maxwell radar. That's the view off of the Birmingham radar. Again, there's really good agreement there. This is the part of the state that has very good radar coverage in Coosa County. Between the Maxwell radar and the Birmingham radar, you've got two radars that are pretty close, right? So we as meteorologists can get a pretty good look in there. So far, I haven't seen any tornado debris. We will continue to kind of eyeball that. It works best if you can animate it, you can look and see what we see there. And I do not see any absolute sign of tornado debris. That can become a messy signature to evaluate. So we'll check in with the National Weather Service too and see what they're seeing. So likely tornado damage, southern Hale. Possible tornado right now in Coosa County. The Hale County storm's gone. So Hale County, you're all clear. But Coosa County, active tornado warning for northern Coosa. This does not include Rockford. This does not include anywhere south of Alabama Highway 22. If you live along State Route 22, this is north of you. So I'm talking Stewartville, Gold Branch, Flag Mountain, Weogufka, Hanover, Hatchet, Goodwater, and then from there I think this is going to end up more into Clay County. New radar scan coming in now. Let's flip over to the rotation part of this, and there you have it. Still seeing consistent signs of rotation within this just north of Weogufka. So, Amanda, that's the general lay of the land right now with the Coosa County storm. You've got to take cover northern part of the county, but the weather is about to go downhill for a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people. Prattville, Millbrook, Wetumpka, Montgomery, Pike Road. Buckle up, here it comes.
Yeah, we're definitely keeping an eye on that whole line, but like you said, Josh, inside of this line, a damaging wind threat is more of a widespread concern, but these little pockets of spin and rotation happen very quickly, and the environment that we are in can likely start to gain momentum very fast. So the storm in question that has prompted us to continue our coverage after the Perry County system was a little bit farther north of that inside this line, right along the Coosa-Talladega County line, south of Sylacauga, but they're still getting in on some heavy rain. And what we're watching right over Weogufka right now, you can see lots of heavy rain, not as much lightning. So I don't necessarily think that you're going to be hearing those big booms of thunder like we did just a a couple of days ago with that last severe weather event. You can see right here where the reds and greens are all coming together and it looks like a straight line, but see how this kind of notches off towards